there hasn't been the
It was
number
correct
of
when
people.
you have
What's the number of people for a quorum?
That every
What's that?
October.
The
It was
number-
correct when there
the number-
wasn't a non-member board person on the nominating committee.
I'm sorry?
When the two people on the nominating committee were just board members.
Yes.
There was no non-member
Okay.
person, but that makes that legal.
Yeah,
So-
the way we do it under
Makes
Florida
that
statutes, anybody can nominate anybody, so it's not confined. Your documents are more restrictive. We do it per Florida statutes, any homeowner can nominate anybody, so we go beyond that umbrella.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with kingdom management anyway, the election?
What's that now?
The election process, what does that have to do
We
with?
do all the mail out for it.
When she's talking about, they control the mailing, so we do the ballot and the proxies, as well as the
Because
announcement.
obviously I couldn't tell you the last time I got a proxy in the mail either.
Well,
Mail seems to be
you've
the
gotten
issue.
them, you've gotten them once a year for the last,
Really?
yes, for the last 4 years.
He's checking the mail.
Okay.
So when is the next- so when is the
I mean,
next
that seems to be a
election?
recurring theme. Everybody here is saying that
So
there are
how many
mailing
people got
here.
notice of the annual meeting? Nobody? So,
I mean, I remember getting one.
Now, we still haven't addressed when is the election.
okay, the election is in November.
Okay.
So we'll
Wait
have,
a second, I was told October.
what's that?
Is it October or November?
It says mid-October on the.
Shaking his head yes.
When can people be nominated?
Oh, I don't have a.
What's
copy.
that?
When can people be
I have
nominated? Is
lots
that at
of
that time?
copies.
You can, yeah, we'll step up the nominating committee. If we have volunteers for the nominating committee, which I think we might, we can set that up about 4 months ahead. The process, we can you can come right to the, you can collect ballots and nominate yourself on the floor at the annual meeting. Or if you want to get on the official ballots, because we always leave a write-in, so if you want to get on the official ballot, that's what the nominating committee says. Basically, all the nominating committee does is decides the names that will go on the ballot. So this year is two openings, myself and Roberts. Our positions are coming opening. So if anybody's interested, we'll do the nominating committee. And again, if you don't want your name on the ballot, that ballot we mail out. You could simply stand up at the meeting and nominate yourself. And in a group, it seems pretty well organized like this, you could probably have enough votes to get yourself or the member.
What is that number?
In order to have a binding election, it's a quorum, which we reduced. The original documents were
60%.
60%. Yeah, and then we reduced it to 10%. So
Which is what?
200,
On the reduction.
233. What, excuse me?
Who voted on the reduction?
That was the original builders, right?
Yep.
That addendum. The original addendum was done with
Not builders, the developers.
developers.
Yeah.
It was the initial board. It was the initial board that was put in place for the property owners.
So when is it our right to vote out kingdom management?
Okay.
To go and follow the rules like they do on phase 2?
So
Everybody here in this room is probably on the same page as I am.
So what you
Vote
do?
out kingdom management.
Yeah, what you do is you get.
Stay away from Tinkle. She's involved with Tinkle.
What you do is you would get control of the board, or people in interest, who have your same interests, get them to control the board. It's their board.
Can't you, as our board, even give them a 30-day notice now, though?
Yes, we could.
Why can't we
What we would have to
the
petition.
board put a motion
Okay, what would be the process to do this?
Because our current bylaws
Yeah.
are.
So the question,
I'd like to petition that you find out if we're going to get a new management company, please.
what's that?
Yes.
Make a motion
We're going to make a motion to get a new management company.
Okay, we'll talk about that next meeting. I don't know what else you're going to say.
Yeah.
It has to be put on the agenda.
When it comes to, I can appreciate a board having to collect monies for HOA dues. We all can. However, maybe you should consider putting a limit before you head to foreclosure, maybe, $1,000 in fees or something?
Well, after this discussion, I mean, the gentleman over here made a good point. We are in recovery. I mean, I think that's pretty much undeniable. I mean, I think the properties are coming back. People are moving in. There's still a bunch of low liars out there, but generally speaking, I think the community is coming up. This bigger group, I've never seen a bigger group. You have an opinion is that you don't want to collect fees via lawyers. I don't see any problem with that. I had actually a collection agency knocked on my door today, which is, they were trying to, I don't know if they ever showed up. Yeah. So this gentleman came to my So this gentleman came to my door, he got my address, and he said, I represent Association Capital Recovery, and he said, we are a collection agency. We've been very successful. The first question I asked him, as I was on my phone and getting ready for this meeting, is I said, do you guys use lawyers? And he said, no, we don't use lawyers. So in a nutshell, you guys are a collection agency, you work for associations like this.
Exactly right. So, and we do account recovery for associations only. So HOAs or condos, and that's it. And
Okay, so that's what you do. So just as a sampling, so you heard what we do. We 60 days later, it goes to the attorneys, and the next bill they're going to see is already $350. What would be a sample fee structure if we were to use your service?
So the difference would be if Association Capital Recovery were used, the process prior to the account being sent to us would be decided on through the board, of course. Once ACR receives an account, the fee structure is billed at $150 per phase. There's a 3-phase process, and each phase lasts about 5 weeks. I think the biggest key difference is that homeowners are contacted in a very respectful manner via telephone.
Do you work with actual payment plans?
We work payment plans. The idea behind it, and this situation is not something that's foreign to us at all. We understand that attorneys have been the kind of traditional method out there, and in all honesty, the only option out there for most associations has been hire an attorney. So, which is the reason why we're in existence. So we take a much more respectful and educational approach to contact homeowners, contact your neighbors, and walk them through the process of why the delinquents, what could happen in a situation of delinquency, but have those open lines of communication throughout the process. If we contact a homeowner and we go through extensive measures to find the homeowner and reach them via telephone, we even contact family members, keeping the information private, but asking them to call us back in your situation.
So is that call recorded? So in case the person says, I never got the call, these gentlemen can be assured that you did make the call and they were contacted and they were told they owed money.
It's not recorded. We're recording it. It is docked. Every single phone call is
Okay.
docked.
You write some down. I talked to Joey.
Every
Joey goes, I never heard of it.
Every single phone call is documented, which is
so just that's what some other options we have out there. And it's clear to me, like I said, the rules we may be done with the lawyers because of the interest expressed here. And like I said, I don't have any problem. Yeah. Does anybody else have any other questions?
One comment that I would like to make on elections is that anybody that votes has to be in good standing.
Yeah.
I would like to make that.
And in good standing, according to our bylaws, is at the sole discretion of our board. So maybe you could tell us what this person is good standing.
Good standing. If you have any
Sounds like most of us in this room went to the plot.
delinquent fees.
So even if it's on collections, but you paid your account ever since, and the attorney may be holding your $60 in his escrow, you're still not technically in the
Yeah. I mean, what Sherry is saying is once the lawyer resolves, he has to turn us back the fees and require it on so many days by state law.
Which, so you guys know, he cannot go to foreclosure until it's over $2,000 or more than 2 years past due. So as you can imagine, over $60, that's a long waiting time to get that money. You're gonna wait 2 years.
I don't know.
Once it's reported, I know it's the law.
Yes, it
You cannot foreclose on that house for HOA fees unless it's over $2,000 or longer than 2 years past due.
Like I said, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know.
Well, I'm not asking you to deal with it. I'm telling you, if you don't believe me, please certainly look it up. But know that this practice of turning it over to a lawyer for $60 is absurd, especially if the person is not going to pay. Because then you're gonna wait for 2 years at a minimum to even try to collect that.
I understand what you're
So I'm just trying to make that point to you.
I understand your point is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have two things. One is, I contacted Kingdom Management today for a copy of the financials. Do y'all receive financials from them?
Yes.
Then why can't you provide those digital copies to all of them?
And I also requested one on Tuesday and was told I have to pay for a copy of those, they will not email them.
You can email them.
50 cents a page.
Let's do Kingdom Management again.
And then it cannot be emailed.
Yes, I'm just trying to do what you said, and there's no reason why we shouldn't provide those whatsoever.
I agree, I absolutely agree. So,
Could y'all please check into that, because
Yeah,
you know,
no.
if we sign up for that website and we're putting our name and you're putting our name, number, our name up there, that you're tracking us and everything, and you have our email address, you have our phone number, you have all the contact information, there's no reason why she can't email.
And we're only talking 4 to 5 pages for.
Yeah.
And I wasn't asking for a monthly for each
yeah,
year,
I
just a year.
absolutely agree. You know about the, obviously our budgets are there, but you're talking about,
The actual
I
financial.
want a copy of monthly too.
Right, I mean, the budget is just the budget. We should be able to see the actual expenses.
yeah, that should be, it should be issued. Like I said, I don't see an issue with it. Obviously, it makes sense to me, unless someone can tell me there's a reason not to do that.
Just so you're all aware, not everyone in this room has gotten the letter. Not all of us are not in good standing. Some of us are here to support our neighbors because we don't feel that this is the right thing to do for our neighbors.
Absolutely.
We're not here to attack the management company, really. We're not here to attack the board. But our main concern is that everything, all of the information be transparent as it should be. Because when it's not, then we don't know what your motives are. The minutes are very vague, to be honest with you.
What's
When it
that?
says the minutes, when it says, sometimes it'll say something, you signed something, whatever, but it doesn't say what it is. And when issues come up that we all tend to get hot and bothered about, we go read the minutes, we're like, well, what is that? And why doesn't it say what that is?
What's that? Well, yeah. Like I said,
I mean, we don't want to be faced with a phone call asking for financials to be told, well, you have to pay for that,
I understand. She was reflecting state law and what she has to do. I understand that. The
Okay, but I'm
financial-
talking for other issues.
Yeah.
You know, she keeps racking on.
A lot of us out here, our kids are involved in sports. We're neighbors. We're family out here. Okay? It's a special. Oakleaf is a special place to live. And no, I haven't gotten a letter. I'm here to support my friends and neighbors. We have organizations out here, the Sports Association, the CDD, things like that. So it's not like we don't understand how organizations should be run, because all of us are involved. What you're looking at is the people who are involved in these communities.
I think it's awesome, and unfortunately, in this room, I don't recognize, more than 5 or 6 people get involved. Like I said, these decisions were not made in the cloak and dagger. We've met.
I disagree. I think the hiring of Kingdom Management was made in a cloak and dagger.
It was an exhaustive process.
When was
The hiring of Kingdom Management. We interviewed 5 different companies. I mean, that was a very transparent process. It was all noticed, and it's a lot more than a lot of other people did. But we sat right here with the
Can
different
you make this a point for the next meeting, and I'll be back, to tell me why the last management company was removed, exactly why they were removed, and then we will analyze why we have Kingdom Management, and if they're not guilty of the same reasons why you got rid of the last one.
Which brings me to my question, John.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
You guys were, within 2 weeks roughly after you guys were put on the board, you guys fired PMSI.
PMSI.
And hired Kingdom Management. That doesn't seem like a very exhaustive process. especially when you have no real history of being involved directly with the management company. Just an outsider looking at it.
This is, again, John Keys, he's the president of the West Side, and still works
Yeah.
for
Your first meeting, you
Invited
terminated the
them to
management
come
company.
with us.
What's that?
You said your first meeting, you terminated PMSI.
No, we did not.
No.
Okay, second, maybe it was the second, but we
No,
can pull the minutes up, they have the minutes.
Looking at different,
You talked about them, let's say it this way, you talked about the inadequacy of PMSI and the need to look at other management companies, the very first meeting that you
Yeah.
were members of.
Yeah, I mean, the reason we hired Kingdom is, like I said,
They didn't vote them out until they had hired precisely team
yeah,
members.
we interviewed 5 different management companies, I think 4 or 5 different management companies, and we chose Kingdom Management based on what we wanted them to do, the style of inspections we wanted, the feedback we wanted, this database that we talked about tonight. That's been an ongoing project that has come to fruition now.
I apologize, it was 6.
What's that?
It was 6.
Okay.
6 weeks. And did you even ask PMSI if they would do the things that you wanted them to? Remember, they were under a different board, and I do live in phase 1. I am not delinquent on anything, I never have been, so I am in good standing. Did you even talk to PMSI to see if they would do what you wanted them
Like I
to do?
said, that was an exhaustive process in PMSI. The board at the time made a decision to replace PMSI. That's,
When I requested documents, they told me I can come to you and pay 50 cents a copy and copy all of that online.
That sounds like a Kingdom Management agreement.
It was very similar in frustration. Very similar.
But we have to deal with that.
Well, I'm sorry.
Can you put it on the agenda for our next meeting that we'll, to, whether to vote to keep Kingdom Management and consider everybody that's here?
yeah, I'm gonna give you my opinion, and you don't need to boo me or do whatever. I'm just gonna tell you what my honest opinion is. This lawyer thing, which obviously everybody's upset, I understand it. I understand you're upset.
Google it.
You should be upset. I mean, you should be
Yes,
pissed off too. I mean, this is.
Your community.
before you speak,
Yeah.
yes, it went. I saw, I'm a realtor here in town, and I saw, someone brought to my attention one of these, soon-to-be foreclosure here in this, community. And, if I'm not saying it correctly, someone can correct me, but the bottom line is, for $180, that's what it originally said, that they were late on HOA fees. And then down at the bottom, they were credited back 2 years for like 11 and 12, but 10, they weren't credited. Now, I have in my business, my former businesses and how I do business, when I get money in, I apply it to the oldest bill first.
Every time.
Okay?
Standard accounting
The accounting practices, I disapprove of. I find them professional, and if they're only sending out invoices and not a statement of account, then you're going to have problems and no one is going to be aware, and you have compounded problems. And there's no reason whatsoever why Kingdom can't do this.
Okay, again, that issue, whether right or wrong, that issue is that once it went to collections, that went through a period, went to collections, Kingdom was instructed by the attorney, again, whether right or wrong, that you can no longer communicate on that.
Well, guess what? That's not new.
Okay.
Management companies understand that. That is not something that just happened and, oh, God, we just did all this and now we can't do anything about it. That's no. That is not something new to management companies. Once you give it to an attorney for collections, or to a collection agency for that matter, if you take payment, you ruin the process. So it's just like a foreclosure. If you take a payment, it starts the process all over again. So this is not new stuff, okay? But the point is it's simple, okay? Things aren't being done in a straightforward, above-the-board fashion. And the fact that I've made 3 payments on my association dues and purposely paid them a little later this time to see if I would get a letter, and did not, you gotta change it. It's gotta change. Because if it doesn't, we'll have to figure out how to make it change, because it's not right.
Well, I mean, hopefully, it sounds like you got, like I said, you got a good group here, got an election coming up, get in here.
I'm not waiting until the election. I've got friends and neighbors that will be attacked the same exact way tomorrow as soon as 2 years is up on past due accounts. We need a change now. It needs to be addressed at the next meeting,
Okay,
and I'm hoping we will do
Like I
this
said,
because it needs to be taken care of.
absolutely. This is going to be an agenda item for the next meeting. We'll talk about the collections. Again, I'm just talking as myself. It sounds to me that we're going to get away with the lawyers and either go to a collection agency or just do something new because of what we heard here tonight.
My name is Kimberly Farrell. I would like to put a motion out there that until the next meeting, nobody goes to collection. Nobody goes to collection or it's foreclosed on.
It's your lawyer, you tell them what to do.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
It's your master company.
So those,
I don't know, you kind of got,
I second the motion.
How about we try a test trial and send them a second letter, a certified letter from the HOA?
I think the notification process.
Can't hear you
well, okay, anyway, so we're gonna discuss how we'll go forward at the next meeting.
Perfect.
So we'll figure something out. If you want to be at the next meeting, not if you want to fly from California, but we'll discuss. It'll be a meeting just like this. If you have an idea, we'll
Will you
discuss.
put any collections and foreclosures until that time?
Well, March is the first. I mean, it's clear to me, like I said, this many people show up, although there's whatever, 2,050 people out there, it's clear to me, if you're willing to show up here, that your voice is heard, and it's clear to me that this group of people want to move away from the lawyer. So we'll talk about it and we'll see what other options we have.
I will make one other suggestion. This has only happened since last Monday. You may want to have a bigger spot by next week.
What's that?
Yes.
This has only happened since last Monday, this many people. You may want to have a bigger spot by the next meeting.
And a lot of us are connecting on Facebook. We have a Facebook residents group, and we talk, and we're connecting, and we're addressing issues that are important in our community.
A bigger room.
Okay, understand that the association pays for this room.
We'll have it outside the parking lot.
Yes,
So
right.
we can,
Now, we can go to the ballroom, but that's gonna cost.
yeah, this room's $40.
How about
I bet you John could
How
go
about
to the
the
bar.
Oakleaf cafeteria?
I
They will charge
Oh,
us.
come on now.
How much?
They
But
charge us
you know a guy.
$1 an hour.
But I will say this.
We can go to the ballroom for $150. For $150.
I have a suggestion that'll cost your association no money. Our management company did some research, and Oakleaf Baptist will donate their space because you're a nonprofit organization.
There you go.
And that's the next meeting.
And that would be plenty big.
Are you sure about that? We're nonprofit?
So does anybody else have anything else, any other issue they want to raise?
I have a question that Mr. Mister brought up. Why is it different? We're all Oakleaf community, phase 1, phase 2, different.
Again, when
For some reason, when the developer, Hudson,
Ma'am, excuse me.
started this,
I'm not trying to be rude, but are you on the board anymore?
I'm no longer on
Right.
the board.
Let the board
I'm not
speak.
trying to be rude.
Let the board speak.
I think everybody here talking.
I'm a
about
business person
me.
for a living, and if you're not on the board, she
Yeah,
didn't
so-
ask you, she asked them, okay?
So again, same thing, when Oakleaf was created, it was Oakleaf East, Oakleaf West, the village, Oakleaf Plantation. Whatever they decided to do, 2 different property owners
2
associations.
different bonds. I
Yeah.
think we're driving the generation,
And
that's
then
why they need to be.
documents, if you look at the documents, they're literally a carbon copy. The documents are exactly the same. They're just 2 boards, and if you want my personal opinion on it, the lawyering should be done, and there should be 1 board and all of those. That's my personal opinion. And then the CDDs, at one point, they're 2 different bonds, 2 different CDDs, and they were actually
Well, I think
considered
you have a
going
problem
together.
there simply, and I know we don't want to get on that tangent, but because of the apartment rentals, the number of units over there, the different condos, associations, and so forth, they're structured differently, they're zoned
It may be
differently. So I think combining them is not.
It may be too late to bring those
It's not-
together
it's not
just
good.
because of the different
It's
directions.
not good.
But does anybody else have any other questions?
Yeah, can I have my $600 back? I make a motion.
Yes.
Let's go. So I'm gonna, like I said,
I would like my dues waived for the next 10 years to cover the cost of that.
How many people have paid the 2013 dues?
2013, yes, I can give you, I reported how much was outstanding,
Okay.
and I told that. And that was for the month of January, what, 2013?
yeah, so that's, when was the last one?
She said new letters went out on Friday, right? Some letters?
Yeah, a few went out on Friday, just like a half-inch stack.
I think you said 68.
68. Yeah, that's what.
68.2%, put that in perspective for me, because I don't like percentages so much. Because it's very
That's about 1,450 people.
Can you identify for me how many homes, or can you tell me that the homes that are not occupied are being accounted for in that number? You've got homes that are not occupied, are you counting them in the percentage of people that
So
have?
that's percentage of total members. So the membership is 2230. What's that? 2122. 2122 is the full membership.
So that's the number of properties that are.
Yeah, that's.
And so that means though, but your numbers are based on that being the 100%.
Yes, that is 100%.
So my question to you is for the people that you won't collect from, like banks and whatnot, the delinquent accounts that you have on file, what percentage of the people that are actually current to pay? That's a more interesting number to me than a number that I know people aren't even going to ever pay because they're owned by the bank.
Yeah, we don't separate the bank owned.
Well, we know. She knows. She
What's
knows. She knows. I'm sorry. If they're already in collection, she knows. So I would like the percentage of people that are in good standing that have paid versus the ones that are going to go to collection. That's the percentage that makes a difference to me. Because the people that are in collections have other problems right now. And they're people that are either not occupying the property.
So when you're saying that you think it'd be interesting to see.
I would like to know of the people that are in good standing.
Of the good standing, how many?
Because I want to know how bad it really is here. And we say we're on the up and up and things are getting better. Really, how much better? Yeah, I mean, they just foreclosed, the attorneys just foreclosed over 117 homes. So that right there is going to drive your numbers way up if you don't count those as not being paid. Because the reality of it is, sir, is that people are probably paying their dues, but you're not getting paid for them. Because it's going to an escrow account of an attorney. And you won't get that. So that's why I want to know. It'll make more sense then, because that's just...
Yes, ma'am.
Just for the sake of transparency, can I get clear? Sherry, what is your name? Because I've seen you from Jarnu to Jarnatowski to, what is your name?
My legal name is Jarnatowski, and I go by Jarnu. Because most people can't say it or spell it.
Okay, I'm Cajun, so it's not that difficult.
I'm Polish, that's the defense.
Yes, ma'am.
It's another question is for homeowners who maybe are struggling and having difficulty and can't come up with the extra $60 all at once. Is there an option to contact the board and maybe work something out in advance?
Everyone who has contacted the board, military members, whatever, we've been able to knock them down. The last one I'm aware of was a military member that had like a $2,200 bill. I think we got like $700 knocked off. And what I said to the military member, and what I say to these people who came to that is that once it leaves, it goes to the lawyer. That's our vendor. It's no longer, it's out of our control, which is the whole problem here. I understand that.
60 days is a little bit short for that to really,
And then again, that was not this exact board, but was a discussion. It was a meeting. We talked about the time frames. We talked about the fact that so it wasn't just made. A discussion was had and a decision was made. Yes, ma'am.
So, being that you're the board and it's within your control, how about we put a motion in for associates that are not associates, sorry, I work for Walmart, so we call everyone associates. As a manager, we all give funds for associates in critical need. I believe that Oakleaf residents, for those who are struggling, would like to know if there's a critical need trust.
You're willing to buy a
If there really
mailbox,
is somebody
folks,
who
not that.
cannot pay $60, I as a resident do not wish to see them put out of their home. So how about we come up with something as a board to help our fellow Oakleaf residents?
Maybe an extra
That
select
on the
$1 to go to that fund on our annual assessments or something like that.
You know, maybe someone is in critical need, but instead of sending them to an attorney and presenting them with hundreds of dollars in bills, let's do something to help them out.
Thank
You're not even.
I understand, I think it's strong, but yeah, some type of charity.
Some people need struggle.
We had a revenue